So in this video, we're going to be looking at popular songs that you didn't know were actually covers of country songs. Hey y'all, it's Colt Wheeler here, and welcome back to my country music channel. Hope y'all are all doing well today, and today we're going to look at 7 successful pop songs that started out as country songs. Some of these you might already know, some of them you might find interesting, and some of them you might not even believe. With that said, let's get on to the list. First up is the Beatles. Yes, the Beatles actually covered a country song. The cultural impact of the Beatles cannot be understated. They directly impacted the cultural landscape of the 1960s and pushed the acceptance of popular music's evolution into an art form. But who inspired the most influential band of all time? It's well known that blues artists such as Carl Perkins, Elvis Presley, Little Richards, and Chuck Berry had a profound impact on the band. But what if I told you that the Beatles were inspired by country legends as well? If you agree with the old proverb that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, and the cover songs serve as tributes to the original artists, then the Beatles were certainly influenced by the legendary country artist Buck Owens. Buck Owens is known as the pioneer of the Bakersfield sound, a subgenre of country music that was coming out of Bakersfield, California in the mid to late 1950s. Act Naturally is one of Buck's most known songs. The song tells a tale of someone who's been jilted, and because of that, he can play the film part of someone who is sad and lonely without knowing anything about acting. The Beatles covered this song on their 5th album, Help. So unfortunately for Buck, and every other country artist on this list, when you Google the name of the songs, it's actually the cover artist that appears first, leading many to believe that the Beatles actually wrote Act Naturally. George Thorogood is mostly known as the Bad to the Bones guy, but this blues rock guitar slinger has been on the scene laying down heavy blues riffs since the mid-1970s. You've probably heard this song before, but Move It On Over is actually a country cover song, not an arena blues rock song. Move It On Over is actually a song written and recorded by the most famous country musician of all time, Hank Williams. George Thorogood might have brought this tune back to the main stage arenas, but it's Hank Williams that we shall be thanking for this classic tune. So next up is an interesting tune. If you've ever listened to Lynyrd Skynyrd's Live from the Road album, you'll have learned 2 things from listening to this next track. Thing number 1, Steve Gaines is the new member of the band, and he's from Oklahoma.
If you're wondering who this dude is over here playing guitar with us tonight, his name is Steve Gaines. He just joined the band. He's from Oklahoma.
And thing number 2, this iconic Lynyrd Skynyrd song is actually a cover song.
This is an old number written back in the 1920s by a man named Mr. Jimmy Rogers. It's called Give Me a T for Texas, a T for Tennessee.
T for Texas is next on our list, and is in fact a country song written by Jimmy Rogers. Now, if you were paying attention to the song, or your radio didn't cut out the spoken intro to the Skynyrd's live versions, you probably already knew this was a cover song. And yes, Skynyrd is often bundled into the country umbrella with their southern rock label. But make no mistake, Lynyrd Skynyrd is a rock and roll band, albeit with some country influences. But that fact isn't enough to remove this rock cover of a country song from today's list. Or at least not in my mind. If you disagree, let me know in the comment section below. But yeah, T for Texas is definitely a country cover song. And I applaud Rodney Van Zant for always giving Mr. Rogers credit before they play it live. Or at least on most of the live versions that I can find of Lynyrd Skynyrd playing this country classic. The next song on my list is one of my favorite stories to remind people who discredit country music. Songwriter and later country outlaw legend Kris Kristofferson wrote a song about 2 drifters traveling across the South, which should be a context clue for this being a country song. Now, Me and Bobby McGee had already been recorded by 3 separate artists by the time Janis Joplin recorded her version. Now, unfortunately, Janis Joplin never saw how successful her cover of Bobby McGee would become, as she recorded Me and Bobby McGee merely days before her tragic accident. Even though her album Pearl was released posthumously, the song topped the Billboard Top 100 charts and has since been named within the top 150 of greatest songs of all time. Now, Kris Kristofferson has to be happy with that song. 5 different versions released over the span of 4 years, with 4 of the 5 songs charting. That's the kind of success that any songwriter dreams about. In case you're wondering, it was actually Kris Kristofferson's version of the song that didn't make the charts. Okay, so like Lynyrd Skynyrd, the Eagles do have elements of country music within their songs, probably more so, but the Eagles are a rock and roll band. Classic rock. Like country rock sometimes, but Hotel California, Life in the Fast Lane, Take It to the Limit, I Can't Tell You Why, those are classic rock songs. But then there's Seven Bridges Road, an absolutely gorgeous country song. One of my favorite Eagles songs, but it's actually a country cover song. Yes, Seven Bridges Road was actually written and recorded 11 years prior by outlaw country singer Steve Young. So it was actually Steve Young who actually pioneered the outlaw country movement in the 1970s. That catapulted the legacies of Waylon Jennings and Johnny Cash, who were already mainstream stars at the time, into the stratosphere with their anti-establishment attitude towards Music Row. Yes, I will always remember the first time I heard the beautiful harmonies of Don Felder, Glenn Frey, Don Henley, Tim Schmidt, and Joe Walsh, but let's give credit where credit is due and thank Mr. Steve Young for that beautiful song. Next up is Crying Time by Ray Charles. Now, Ray recorded this song in 1965 and ended up winning 2 Grammy Awards, one for Best Rhythm and Blues Recording, and the second for Best Rhythm and Blues Solo Vocal Performance. He even named the album it debuted on Crying Time. But Crying Time is actually a country cover song, not an original Ray Charles song. So Buck Owens, yeah, that same Buck Owens, was actually the songwriter of Crying Times, and he released it a year before Ray released his version. Buck's version was supposed to be the B-side single for Tiger by the Tail, one of Brad Paisley's favorite songs. However, Buck Owens' version didn't reach the charts at all. Needless to say, Buck was very pleased when Brother Ray released his version, as it won 2 Grammys and topped the charts. So there you go, songwriter credit. So this next one might trigger some people into disbelief, especially those who are younger, maybe like closer to my age and younger. This might be a little shocking to you. But there were a few late nights in my college days when right before closing time, somebody would put on Whitney Houston on the jukebox and the whole bar would be singing I Will Always Love You. You may have had similar experiences in other situations, but that's the one that sticks out in my mind when I think of this country classic. Did I just say country classic? Yeah, I sure did. I Will Always Love You was recorded by Whitney Houston for her and Kevin Costner's 1992 blockbuster, The Bodyguard. Many probably remember this song as being played while Whitney Houston aboards the private jet that's about to take off to go run into Costner's arms. But what you didn't know was that this song was actually written and recorded 19 years earlier by legendary country music artist Dolly Parton. The song was written by Dolly in honor of her musical partner and mentor, Peter Wagner. So I hope I didn't just ruin that song for you. I know there are a lot more rock and pop cover country songs. It's a mouthful. These just happen to be the ones that I enjoy the most. But let me know which other rock and pop songs are actually cover songs of country songs in the comment section down below. I think I said that right. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new today, hit the like button, as that helps me create more country videos. On this channel, I cover everything from tone tips, gear reviews, guitar tips, and playing country music, and general country music videos just like this one. So consider subscribing if you haven't already, and you never want to miss out on a country music video just like this one. Also, if you want to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected outside of YouTube. If y'all like to strike up a conversation, ask me some questions, or talk about whatever's on your mind, those links are listed down below in the description box. With that said, thanks for watching. My name's Colt. I'll see you in the next video. And until then, let the music play.